Hey everybody, welcome back to Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we're drinking bourbon. All right, Ben, you've been looking forward to this one for minutes.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and bring it on in. And
we have the most controversial bourbon of 2023 on the bar today.
We've got
BAM, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B523.
all right, Ben, we know it's Elijah Craig. It's barrel proof. What's the proof?
124.2.
124.2, and it's 12 years, so what's new?
Therein lies the controversy.
What?
So this bourbon,
Yes.
and Heaven Hill in general, set the whiskey world ablaze this year when they announced that they're no longer doing the 12-year age statement on Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
What? It's obligation that they have.
You would think
they
so.
promised us.
So this one is 11 years and 5 months.
Missed it by this much.
Yeah, so we're getting cheated out of 7 months age, but truth be told, that also may mean maybe the next one's gonna be 13 years. We don't know. So
they didn't say less, they just said not exactly 12.
They didn't say they were lowering the age statement. I think they're just saying, when the barrels are ready.
And in truth, we did go back and look at a few Elijah Craig special bottles that you have and others have. Mm-hmm. And you even have one that's like 9 years, and it's
I have an
great.
8-year, and it's
yeah.
fantastic.
So,
and those are barrel proofs, but they're the single barrel program.
Yeah. So honestly, it doesn't have to be 12 years. It's just something we're
It
kind of
smells
used to.
7 months younger. I'm sorry, it just does.
Yeah, totally. I'm guessing you can notice it.
Great on the nose. Paid $80 for it.
Toasted almond, almost a Pop-Tarty kind of note, which big fan of.
Kind of nutty. Nice caramel.
Yeah, definitely caramely. But there's almost
Nice oak.
there's a hint of a mocha, like a chocolatey kind of note that it's very subtle.
There's
but
that dark kind of
where
richness.
I hope it's going. So I'm interested in
Let's
finding out.
Cheers. I think that last 7 months was screwing up all the other ones. I think that's fantastic. And I'm just going off of memory here, and admittedly, it's hard to compare because I had an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof last night.
I've not actually had one in, let's say, months.
I had a pour of one last night.
We did
just
a review of the A.
Yeah.
4 months ago, 5 months ago.
Yep. And we may have to bring that in to compare. But going off of memory, and the one that I had last night, which I can't remember which one it was, but I had it with a cigar, so I mean, that kind of throws the taste off. But this one in particular, I'm really surprised by. This one just seems like it has something.
It has a real nice density.
Well, what I was saying is they all start to get redundant a little bit because they're basically the same proof. The last 6 or 7 of them have been.
Mid 120s. And boy, they were actually sneaking down the 18s.
Well, the one did, yeah.
118 something.
But this one definitely has a very premium bourbon vibe to it. It's got a lot of density to it. The legs on the glass are great.
They're great.
But it's got I noticed a little bit of a graham crackery note on the palate.
There is, which we get occasionally on Heaven Hill products. And there's that, I think some people are offended by the s'mores description, but there is really a melted chocolate, or milk chocolate, graham cracker, and a marshmallowy note. And they all really work well together. There's also a nice vanilla.
Oh yeah, that's great. Mm-hmm. Do you think we need to bring in the previous one to...
I think we should, because I want to try it and compare.
Before we get into the comparison,
okay,
this is fantastic.
I actually think this drink's very premium. You paid $89.99?
No, 80.
Oh,
$79.99.
Oh, wow.
I could have got it for 75.
You could have had a V8.
Yeah. That's an old school reference. But yeah, I do think this is fantastic. I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I bought it. I wish I had bought it before because I could have bought it up at Spirits for 75. But I didn't think I was going to buy this one, and then situations happened.
Barrel proof. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is oh, there's definitely a difference on these two.
7 months.
Interestingly enough, the A batch is coming across a little more tannic. A little more like salted peanut shell. It's a little bit more of a sharp edge, whereas this one has a little bit more of that sweetness and that kind of like a little more rounded out. On the nose, I definitely prefer the B523.
Getting like a pecan, almost like a pecan type candy or chocolate with pecans in it type thing.
I'm getting mostly oak on this. And the A123 is fantastic
Yeah,
in its own right.
we liked it as well. They had been going down on proof and they kind of came back up. All right, definitely the graham cracker note. So this is the A, first taste of that one.
And it is really good too. Again, I love all of these. These are all fantastic. I just wondered, do I need to keep getting every single one of them at $80?
Well, they're getting better.
Then again, though,
the viscosity is going up, the proof is going up, the age is going down. So maybe age means nothing, Ben.
Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna get one more taste of the A batch here.
The A has a more of a cinnamon and brown sugar note, where the B has more of a s'mores vibe. I think these taste different.
I do too. Yep, for sure.
So I think this tastes like a nice peppery, this is gonna sound weird, peppery brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart, which I really like, by the way. I've never had pepper on it, but that's an inspiration.
Yeah, there you go.
And this tastes much more s'moresy, which is kind of in the Elijah Craig, that we get the s'mores kind of notes on Elijah Craig fairly often.
Well, and especially like a toasted barrel for sure. But the graham cracker note is what leans me into the s'moresy sort of vibe.
Yep.
The B batch definitely has more of like a baking flavors. And when I say that, not like baking spice, but more baking like baking chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, like the vanilla extract and the cookie dough and the chocolate and the sugar and brown sugar. Like this is a much more sweet and like desserty sort of profile. This one's a little more tannic and nutty, but they're both great. Well, the C batch is not out yet, but we could do the D723, which would be the blend of these two. Well, I suppose the D723 would be a blend of all three of them, but this is like B and a half. 723, since it's still, is it July still?
It is July 30th.
Okay.
As we film.
Whew. You know what? I gotta just stop complaining about how similar these all are because, well, they are all in the same ballpark. They do bring something unique.
They are single barrels.
And even, well, no, they're not. These aren't single barrels.
Oh, they're not. No,
they're just batches.
Small batches.
They're batch products. Yeah,
single batches.
The thing is, though, is that they're so good that $80 for it, even if you've got all the other ones on the shelf, is still a good bourbon to pick up for $80.
But there's so many other bourbons that are.
I know, that's the thing. Knob Creek single barrels just kill it at $50 to $60. I mean, they're kind of the spoiler, you know. Old Forester 1920. But these really, really do bring something to the table. And I think they do have that premium bourbon experience. So I think they're worth every penny of the $80 that they charge for them. Or the
what I like about them is they're a bit of a unicorn. They're a little bit hard to find, but they're not impossible to find. You know what I mean?
You have to do a little bit of work, but we always find them.
Well, yeah. So I mean,
kind of like how you wish some of the other unicorns were, where it's like, it's rare enough that you're not going to find it all the time.
Yep.
But you still get to find it, but when you do, you get a little excited, like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
You know, when you walk into a store and see it sitting on the shelf.
And it's special enough that some liquor stores are gonna, put an extra $10 on it, and you decide, is it worth it for you or not? Sometimes I'm willing to pay the extra, sometimes I'm not. So.
Yep. The blend almost comes across as a little bit more mellow. Seems like it's smoothed the whole thing out.
I always find that sometimes blends where the flavors kind of compete with each other, like the sweetness and maybe the I don't know a good way to. It's not salty, but earthy notes.
This one
Sweetness
has a
and
little bit of a
earthy.
salty vibe to it.
Yeah.
Like salted peanut shell kind of vibe. So now it's like the sweet and the salty, kind of like a salted caramel sort of
They kind of
combination of the
kind of
sweet
like
and salty.
actually bring each other down a bit. Not in a bad way. Not like Smashing Pumpkins bring each other down, but it's a rock reference. Come on, you're the music.
Did they? I don't know about them bringing each other down. Was there like a terrible falling out?
No, they're just like a downer, kind of like sad kind of rock band.
Is that what?
Are you
Okay,
Are you a
gotcha.
fan of the Smashing Pumpkins?
Yeah. They were big in my high school years. I just saw them in concert like a year ago.
Oh.
I feel like I like both of these better on their own than I do in the blend. Sometimes that happens with the
More
blend.
unit. Yeah, sometimes the Benny Walker special is bad
Yeah.
idea. Bad
And
idea.
The blend is great, but I think these each are unique enough in their own right that
What
blending
if-
them together kind of
What
takes
if
away
we
their
just
uniqueness.
discovered what the C923 is going to taste like?
Well, hey, if it tastes like this, I'm not going to be mad at it. I'm just going to say it probably doesn't taste as good as these two on their own.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, let's wrap this up before we ramble for too much longer. This has been Elijah Craig.
Okay, one more point.
Okay.
I think for the last several years, you've been buying each of these,
Yes.
and I think we've universally agreed the C batch is typically the best.
I guess I'd have to go back and look at our reviews, but you know what we didn't do last year? I don't think we did a flight of all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
I know we did that with the Larceny. We should definitely do that this year, and maybe we have to just go back and revisit all of last year's, just for the hell of it.
Yeah, because I have some of the bottles, but I certainly don't have as complete a collection as you do.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to, at some point, just do a big comparison between, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 the most, because the other thing is they're barrel proof. So
They're
by the time you
barrel
have
proof
a couple
and- yeah.
sips of each of them,
Yeah.
your palate starts to get a little,
Yep.
little bit of beating on it. So anyway, well, this has been Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B523 on the Bourbon Note with a little special guest by the A123. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Till next time. See you next time.